introduction. Sir, it's a pleasure to have you on this faculty development program. So now you can continue with the session.
Sure. Thank you very much for the nice introduction. So basically, before starting the session, I would request participants, in case they have any question while the session is going on, they can unmute themselves and ask the question. Let us make this session as interactive as possible. So that is one request. And another is, in case you are not comfortable with unmuting yourself, you can write your questions in the chat. And I'll be checking the chat box from time to time, and will try to address those questions when they are coming into. Okay, so let me just try to share the screen and ensure that you are able to see my screen, and let's start with the session. So kindly let me know if you are able to see my screen. Okay, so I just shared something. Is my screen visible?
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Okay, but I guess it might be very small. Let me make it slightly bigger. Yes. So I guess now you might be able to see the content, right?
Yes, sir, visible.
Okay, all right. And let me just remove all of it so that you are able to see more content in your screen. Audible?
So your voice is cracking now. Now you're audible.
Now I'm audible. Okay, and my screen is visible, right?
Right.
Okay, great. And let me also check out my writing pad. So I just basically made a line, and I hope it is visible to everyone, right? Okay.
So
Okay, all right, great. So basically, in this session, what I have planned is, I was asked to kind of do some things in Numpy, and in Numpy, there are a lot of things can be sort of done. So the way I have planned this session is, in the first half, I would be doing the Numpy combined with Matplotlib and other modules, so that you learn how to use different modules together. And sort of do some plotting, and after the first session I'll have some small exercise which I would want you to try it out, and in the second session I'll just be getting into linear algebra and some of the matrix operations using Numpy. So that's the whole agenda of this session. So let me know one thing, like, do you have access to Python? I mean, are you able to kind of execute a code in Python or not? So that's one important thing for me to know. Hello participants. So my question is, are you able to run Python on your systems? That's one question, because that would be important, and that's how I can proceed with the session. Okay, so somebody said yes, and some people at least said that they have access to it. Okay, all right, great. So people who have access to Python, they can just go ahead and do their experiment there. And if you are not having access to Python, then what you could do is you could go to this website called, this is called Google Collab. I mean, in short, people call it Google Collab, but the website name is this one, okay? The one which is being underlined here, and I have just shown it using the arrow symbol, okay? So using this website, you can try your hands-on symbol. So this website allows you to actually run the Python code in the background, okay? So that's how we would try to go. So I guess many of you might be already familiar with. Somebody said no. Okay, that's fine. So some people might have access to Python, some people might not have. And people who have Python, they can run it. Okay, yes sir, we know how to use Collab. Okay, all right. So many of you already know how to use Collab, so that's great. I have not kept all the things on how to keep collabs and all those things. So basically, there are several modules available in Python. Okay, so in the modules, you could, if you want to see sort of any help about modules, you can just type help modules, and it will sort of display all sort of modules which are available. And what is module? Module is a file containing a set of functions. Okay, So a module contains a set of functions which you want to include in your application. So I mean, why Python has become very popular and it is increasingly becoming popular day by day. The reason being there are several libraries which you can automatically use. What do I mean by libraries? Library means there are all these modules available in the system. Okay, with Python there are pre-installed modules, so which have all the set of functions written over there, and any function which you want to use, you can just sort of import that module and would be able to use that function. Okay, so I mean, mainly I was supposed to talk about only NumPy, but I thought I would also introduce you to a couple of other related modules which might be relevant to you. So I mean, the other module I want to kind of talk about here is the math module and NumPy definitely, and then there is this Matplotlib, and I want to eventually show you how to combinedly use Matplotlib and NumPy. Okay, so basically if you type just help module and just try it out in your Python screen, and you should be able to see various modules, and then if you want to say figure out which all functions are available within the math module in Python, so there will be several modules coming in, NumPy, SciPy and so on, but one of them would be math. Okay, and you might want to know what all functions are available within the math module. Fine. So to figure it out, like what all functions are available within the math module or in any other module, what you have to do is you have to just type help math. Okay. So if you type it in your Python screen, so basically if you are using Python, you'll have these these arrows coming in, and after the arrows, if you just type the command help math, you would be able to see all the functions which are available within the math module. Okay. So I mean, I'm taking a 10-second pause for you to kind of just try it out, that what all functions are available. You just type help math and you would see several functions available there. So I mean, all of you please try it out. Like let's try to do this session and in a sense that we'll do it learn by doing itself. Okay. Learning by doing essentially. So so you'll see many functions that are already defined and available for us to use. And what do I mean by those functions are available for us to use? That means if I import certain module, then I would be able to use the functions which are available inside that module in whatever way I want to use it. Okay, so let's consider some examples. So if you type help math, there will be many functions, and some of them are going to be exp, factorial and sqrt. Okay, so you can access these modules by any of the following three ways. So I guess while doing the other sessions, you might have seen that how to import certain module or import a certain function from a certain module. So I mean, more or less there are just these three ways of importing it. So three ways, way one is this one, way two is this one, way three is this one. You can do either of these ways to actually import a function. Okay, so suppose I mean, I have seen that within the math module there are these functions written over there, and I just want to import the factorial function. Okay, so what command I would write? I would say write from math module I want to import factorial. Okay, so this command would import the factorial function, and from that line onwards I'll be able to use the factorial function for the usage in the program. Okay, so this is for only importing the factorial function, but sometimes you might want to import all the functions which are available. So for that, what you could do is you can just say import math. Okay, so if you import math, then the entire math module will be imported, and then you can use all the functions which are available within the math module, let it be factorial or the sqrt and so on. So suppose I mean, in the first case, when I had imported the factorial function, then I could have used this factorial of whatever number I write here. That would give me the factorial of that number, because that factorial function has already been imported and it is already written. So for sure, I mean, on your own also you can write these functions, but when there are such libraries always already available with pre-written functions, then you can just use those functions, right? Okay, so I mean, and help is always a great help in Python. You can always use help command to figure out what is being I mean the conditions about that function. Okay, not the conditions as such, help that particular function will give you the details about that function, that what does that function do. Okay, so this was your way one by which you could only import the factorial function. You could import the entire module, and then in order to use a particular function on that module, you have to use something like this. You have to make a reference. So math dot, if you want to use the square root function of 12, so you have to write math dot sqrt of 12. Okay, so this is how you would kind of call a function after importing all the functions from a module. Another way could be, suppose I want to import the factorial function. So I would write math dot factorial of 12. So this line here, if I call it line number 1, and this line here, if I call it line number 2, both of them will achieve the same job. Both of them will give the same answer. Okay, and another way, which is the third way of importing the module is, often what people do is, since the module names might be very big sometimes, Matplotlib, or within Matplotlib you might have the sub packages pyplot, and then within the Numpy you might have another sub packages. So many times you might want to just call the module by some convenient name. Okay, so suppose I call, if I want to do it that way, then I would be using import math as m. Okay, so if you import the entire module of maths using the name m, then you can use this m as a reference word for the math module. Okay, so basically after importing the math module by using this way, the way number 3, which is the most common one actually, you can use this name, whatever you have written. You could have given here m, you could have given, whatever name you want. It's just that it is going to assign some name to the math module, and that name is going to be used later on in your function, in your program. Okay, so often we just write import. So suppose I want to import Numpy module, so I would write import Numpy as np. Okay, and then suppose then if I want to call any function within the Numpy module, then I would be sort of using np dot say I want to call the log function, log of 5. Okay, so that would do the job. Similarly, here I have imported the math module as m, and then I can call this function exp within the math module as m.exp of 12. Okay, so I hope these all 3 ways are clear. So let me just make a convenient note here. So using 1, you got the factorial of 12 by way 2. Using 1, using 2 here, you got the factorial of 12 by way 1. So let me write it here. How would you get the factorial of 12? You would get the factorial of 12. You have to write m dot factorial of 12. Okay, so this I'm just calling it 3. So 1, 2, 3, all of them are going to give you same result. They are just the 3 different way of importing a function. And whichever you find is the most convenient to you, you can use that. But I can tell you that this way 3 is the one which is the most common in Python. Okay, so this was about importing a function. Can you? Somebody said, sir, we are executing programs on cloud. The modules are also on cloud. So what is the advantage of importing them? Okay, can you post the code here so it will? So the first question I got it from Vinod. He's asking that we are executing programs on cloud. The modules are also on cloud. So what is the advantage of importing them? So to answer this question, yes, you are right. If you are like sort of doing it in cloud, then there is as such no advantage because those modules are there, and if you want to use them later on, then as such there is no advantage. But there are other people who are sort of having the Python installed in their system, and they might want to import them to be able to use those commands. And another one is saying that can you punch the code here so it will save the time. No, I didn't understand. Do you want me to copy paste the codes here? Is that what Vandana is asking? Uh, Paste the code. Uh, I mean, paste the code to the chat box, is it? So let me just okay, sure, I can do the copy paste of the code in the chat box. That's not a problem, but maybe I'll do the copy paste of the code which I would want you to sort of try it out on your own, and so that it saves time. And the other part of the code, I would be anyway sharing all these study material with all of you, so it will reach you there. So should not be a problem. And while I'm explaining things here, and if I feel there is a necessity and the code is larger, which could not be sort of written here, then I would do this copy paste business. So I hope that's okay. Okay, all right. So yeah, these were the three ways. I hope it is clear to all of you that how to sort of import certain module and use it the way you might want to use it. And this is one of the most basic building block if you want to use any module. Okay, so this is something which you must understand. So I guess like so far you would have taken several sessions in Python. I'm not sure if you have learned it already. So in case you have learned it, then you have to bear with me that I have repeated the same thing. But in case this was not clear to you earlier, I would be happy to answer the questions if you have any regarding importing any of the modules. Okay. All right. So I take just a few seconds pause to sort of wait for your questions if there are any. Else I'll just continue with the things which I want to do. Okay, I guess there are none. So let's continue with another module called Matplotlib. So why I'm bringing Matplotlib and math, it will be clear in some time. Because the reason of bringing Matplotlib here is I want to kind of use the module Numpy and Matplotlib together. Okay, that is the reason why I am bringing the Matplotlib. And the math module why I brought in here is that will also be clear in some time, because there are certain things which you cannot do with math module, and there are certain things which you would be able to do with efficiency with Numpy. So in order to understand that, you need to know that there is a module called math and there are functions written over there also. Okay, so I mean, in case you had already done these modules, just bear with me, because I needed to bring it to all of you in case some of you have not really done it earlier. Okay, all right. So there is a simple module called Matplotlib. This is especially used for plotting and generating graphs, saving graphs, and those type of purposes, which are very relevant in any programming language. So basically, suppose we consider a small example. I guess you would already be familiar with the lists and all. So if I say if say I give a is equal to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to 10, and b is equal to square of them. Okay, square of each element. So b is 4, 3, b is 4, 3 square 9, 4 square 16, and so on and so forth. Okay, so I got the value of a and b. And I want to create a plot between A and B. So how do I do it? So in order to create the plot, you have to use plot function. But in order to use the plot function, you have to know where the plot function is. Okay. So the plot function is available inside the sub package called pyplot, which is from the package Matplotlib. Okay. So there is this package called Matplotlib. And in this package, there is a sub package called pyplot, and in that pyplot, there is this function called plot. Okay, so if I want to use this function plot, then how do I use it? So first of all, I have to import this function. So okay, so I'm more comfortable in using the third way. So in third way, how do I do it generally? So basically, if I had to import only Matplotlib, I would not have written this element. Okay, I would not have written this part. I would have just written import Matplotlib as PLT or whatever. Okay, but what I want is I want to import the sub package. Okay, I don't want to import all the sub packages which are available within the Matplotlib. Okay, I want to just import this pyplot sub package within the Matplotlib. So what I do is I write the following. Okay, I write import matplotlib.pyplot as plt. Okay, So what it does is it has imported this sub package pyplot from Matplotlib package, which we can simply refer as PLT. So that's what this way 3 was doing. Okay, when we were like trying to kind of explain it to you, like what are the different ways of importing separate modules. Okay, and within this sub package, I wanted to use this function plot, right? So how do I do it? I just write plt dot plot in bracket a comma b. Okay. So if I write plt dot plot a comma b, you should be able to see the plot of a versus b in the output area. Okay. So if you do plt dot plot a comma b, you should be able to see a plot of a versus b in the output area. And how would it look like? This is something I think I would want you to try. So if we give only one argument for the plot function, say if I, so here I have written plt dot plot a comma b. So if I write plt dot plot and in bracket I write only b, okay. So what difference is it going to make? So I want you to try it out. I'm going to just copy paste this small piece of code in the chat box so that you can try it on your own. And in case you are fast in typing, please go ahead and type it out, okay. All right, so just give me one moment. I'll just copy paste it. Okay, so I have just copy pasted this a and b and this import function so that you can quickly try it out and just see the plt dot plot a comma b, and also tell me what happens. First of all, I would want you to just do these three things and then create a first plot using plt dot plot a comma b. Okay, so and after that just try out this line. And I would like to hear the difference between these two from at least some of you. You can write your answers in the comment. But I'm just waiting for you to execute this short line of code. And let me know what difference do you see. First of all, are you able to create the plot? So that is the first question. And first thing is create these plots. So if you are able to create these plots, then do you see any difference? So if there are difference, then what is the difference? Okay. Then the question is, what is the difference? Okay. So I hope somebody. Okay. So someone said that they are able to create the plot, A B plot start from first plot shifted ahead. Okay. Okay. Shifted ahead means what? Somebody answered that in terms of difference, the first plot is shifted ahead. First plot shifted from 2. Why the first plot shift? B plot starts from. Okay, that's the right answer. That's what I was looking for. So Chintamani has answered the right, and I think Gayatri also agrees with what Chintamani says. So thank you for the answer. So you should be able to see a plot like this. Okay. So basically, when you are doing this plt dot plot, so this was your plt dot plot a comma b, and this was your plt dot plot only b. Okay. So plt dot plot a comma b, it just takes the value of a and the corresponding value of b, plots it here, value of a 3, corresponding value of b 9, 4, 16, 5, 25, joins the line and then creates this plot. Okay. And suppose you just say plt dot plot is equal to b, then what happens is the y, then that is taken as y-axis value and the x-axis values are taken as default starting from 0. Okay. So if you are just going to do plt dot plot b, then it will be starting. It will be taking the values which are stored in b as the y-axis values. What was the y-axis values? 4, 9, 16. 25 and so on, and by default it will be starting from 0. If you're not giving the x argument, then it will start from 0. So it will assume as if the value at 0 was 4. I mean, the first value which was there in the y-axis is going to be taken to be starting from 0, as if that was corresponding to 0 and so on, 0, 1, 2 and so on. Okay, so I hope this small difference, which was quite subtle, is clear to everyone. Okay, all right. So far it's okay, and I think I would like you to kind of just type it out. I'll just paste it also. So always, like I said earlier, when you are doing these modules or exploring several functions within any module, it's very important. Not very important. It's this help function is quite helpful. I mean, as the name suggests, this help function is going to be quite helpful because it will tell you all the options. Okay. So if I look at this plot, which is there in front of my screen, I would say that this plot is very bland, right? I mean, often what I want is I want to have the grids here. I want to have the title here. I want to have the label of x-axis there. I want the label of y-axis here. Sometimes I don't want the points. I want some point here, and so on, because that's what I line plot. I might just want the points to be drawn. If I'm plotting the multiple plots, then I might want the label to be sometimes here, sometimes here. So then the question is, can I achieve all of this? Can I do these things? Is it feasible to do it or not? So that's what the question which we are trying to address. So I hope everyone is able to, a small line is able to type it out and see. I mean, if you type help and Matplotlib .py.plot, so you would be able to see a lot of options which are available with this plot function. Okay, so I mean, I hope they are visible to you, but the options which are important, I'm going to just bring them here for your reference. So let's change the display of the plot with the marker A star. Okay, so suppose among the several options available in front of you, you would have seen that there is this A star option. Okay, so what does A star does? A star, so earlier your plot was just a straight line, right? So instead of a straight line, you might want it to be of certain color and displayed with the star marker. So how you could do it? So earlier I had written plt dot plot a comma b. Okay, that has given me that has generated the plot which is on the left hand side of your screen. But now what I'm doing is I'm doing plt dot plot a comma b, and then I'm putting this r star. So r is indicating the color, and star is indicating that you don't want a line, you want a star to be plotted at each of the points corresponding to the value of a comma b. Okay, so that's what the first line does. And then the second line also, so and then you might want to have sometimes the title of the plot. So you might want to say write my first graph, font size 12. Okay, the font size gives the actual font size of the figure. Okay, and you might want to add the x label, you might want to add the y label. So you have now added x label as x, y label as x square. Their font size is 14. Your title has displayed as my first graph, and then there are several dots which are appearing here in the screen. So till now, is there any question? I hope there are none. I'm just going to just copy this small piece of code for you for your reference, so that in case you want to try it out and generate your first graph, you would be able to do it. So let me just copy paste it. Give me 1 moment. I should be able to do it. So just take 15 to 20 seconds, and I think you should be able to generate your first. So I have copy pasted the major code part. Definitely you have to put it in the right line and do all those things. But I mean, are you able to? Is there anyone who is able to generate the first graph? So I mean, it should be showing something like what is currently being displayed in your screen. Okay. But I just wanted at least some of you to try it out and reach to this first graph, because the exercise which I'm going to in class exercise, which is going to be there after I explain the Numpy package, is going to involve some plotting and all. So it would be really helpful if you are able to generate your first graph at least. Okay. yes, done. Okay, so many people said that they are able to do it. Okay, all right, great. So I mean, let's now get into using NumPy package. Okay, so again, I mean, like I said earlier, the help function is going to be quite helpful. I mean, if you just type help NumPy, you would be able to see all the functions available within the NumPy package. And I mean, most often I use my favorite way, which is way 3. So to import NumPy in your module, I would often use import NumPy as NP. You don't need to write NP. I mean, this is like just for me to remember that NP indicates to NumPy. You can just write import NumPy as N if you want to write just one word to refer it later on. But remember that whatever word you import it here with, you have to use the same word later. Okay. So let's define a list. I guess in your basic sessions in Python, you would have been introduced to these lists, list, dictionary, and several data types. So let's define a list. So this is how we define a list. Okay. So suppose you have p is equal to this, and you want to say compute np. You want to compute the log of each of the element and store it in some other list or some other array. Okay. So what would I mean? You would say that I mean the math module also had the log function. Why should I not use math module while computing the log of it? So my point is, if you do this math.log p, it will give error. Okay, since math module cannot handle list. So your math module would be able to compute the log element wise, only for one element at a time. Okay, so if I had say x is equal to 2, and if I had imported math module, then I can compute math.log of 2, no problem, log of x. There would have not been any issues. Okay, but if your x is a list, or if your p is a large list, and you want to compute the log of each of these elements and store it in some other variable, then you would have to use this NumPy package, because this NumPy package is capable of handling the array. I mean, it is able to handle the multi-dimensional array while doing several operations. So what would this np.log p give? So the answer would be log of the first element 2.3, second element log of 4.5, and so on, and it will go on. Okay, and the last element will be log of 8.9. So the note remember here is, while you are using the math package, you would be able to handle the lists and do operations simultaneously. Okay, to be able to handle the list, you would have to have the NumPy package imported, and using the NumPy package, you will be able to do operations in an array or in the list. Okay. So far, I hope it is okay. Okay, so somebody had this question: why this dollar symbol? Okay, how to change the color of different curves? So that is another question. Okay, changing the color of different curve, I'll come into it in a minute. So this this R thing, right, where you wrote R, so this R was indicating for blue. So when you type the help, when you do this help matplotlib.py plot, you would be able to see several options, or otherwise also you can search it in your search engine and figure out how to change the color for the plot. So instead of R, if you write here B, I guess it will make the dot, I mean the color of the dots to be blue. So you can change the color from here. R, B, I guess green is for green, G is for green, K is for black. So I mean I don't remember all the options, but I guess using this help or by doing the search, you should be able to do this. But the main is this R is the one which you should be changing while changing the color of the plot. Okay, so that's one part. And another question I think people ask is why there is this dollar symbol. Okay, so dollar is for I mean writing the mathematics inside it. You want it to be displayed to be x square. So for that you have to write dollar of x square. Okay, so I mean, how did this dollar come into picture? You might be wondering why dollar. So it's actually Python, and there are like lot of these open source typesetting software. So if you would have heard of LaTeX, I don't know if many of you are already using it. So in LaTeX is a typesetting software. I mean, this is definitely not the topic for this course, but there is a reason why I have brought in here. So when you are using LaTeX, I mean it's definitely a very good software worth free and open source software free worth trying because it actually takes care of all your worries about the content. I mean about the formatting, etc. You have to only focus on the content. And in LaTeX, writing mathematical expression is very convenient. So if I mean my understanding is that you are the faculty members from several departments. So be it mathematics, economics, statistics, I mean operations research, or maybe computer science, electrical engineering. But if you're writing your articles using heavy mathematics, or like some part of it is containing mathematics, then LaTeX is the software worth trying. Okay, so there when you are writing the mathematical expression, then the math mode starts with dollar. Okay, so this dollar is the indication of the starting of math mode. Okay, I'm sorry, my writing pad has stopped working. It's not working very well. So this dollar says that you are in the math mode. So that's why this dollar is there to indicate that this x is in the math mode. Okay, so and then you have this x caret 2. Why it is able to write x square? Because in LaTeX when you write it, then that's how it understands. So to write a square, you have to post the caret sign. Okay. All right. So some said that they have seen the list of colors and it is changing. Okay. All right. I'm happy to know that your questions have been answered, and I hope that this question about the dollar is also clear. It was mainly to indicate that you are in the math mode and you want to write x square. So if sometimes I might want to write x1, x2, right? x1 and then x2, subscript x2. So for this, how do I write? I would write dollar x and then underscore 1. So that would make x1. And similarly, dollar x underscore 2. So that would make x2. Okay. All right. So far, I hope whatever I was trying to explain here, that is now clear to you, because this was about taking the log of